President Trump's deployment of 2,000 National Guard troops to L.A. against the wishes of city and state leaders, including California Governor Galvin Newsom, who accused the president of, quote, trying to manufacture a crisis to create chaos. Trump denied those claims.
There was a lot of violence there. There was a lot of violence, and it could have gotten much worse. And you have an incompetent governor. We're not going to let our country be torn apart.
In an interview on MSNBC, Newsom fired back.
And it's immoral. You're creating the conditions that you claim you're solving, and you're not. And you're putting real people's lives at risk.
Thanks to our law enforcement officers and the majority of Angelenos who protested peacefully, the situation was winding down. But that's not what Donald Trump wanted. He again chose escalation. He chose more force. He chose theatrics over public safety. He federalized another 2,000 Guard members. He deployed more than 700 active U.S. Marines. These are the men and women trained for foreign combat, not domestic law enforcement.
And of course, in pure Fox fashion, since it doesn't seem they learned from their $787 million settlement to Dominion over all of the election fraud lies that occurred in 2020, what does Jesse Waters go and do? This.
Democrat governors let violence fester until finally Trump restored order. Trump's not waiting around this time. He says if it wasn't for him, L.A. would be up in smoke.
Called him up to tell him, got to do a better job. He's doing a bad job, causing a lot of death and a lot of potential death. If we didn't send out the National Guard, and last night we gave him a little additional help, you would have, Los Angeles would be burning right now. The radical left, it's usually radical left, and it's usually governors that are Democrat, and they don't want to call them in. They don't want to save lives. They don't want to save property. They don't want to call them in. I don't know what it is.
Newsom responded, and he said there wasn't a phone call. He said Trump never called him, not even a voicemail, he said. But John Roberts got Trump's call logs, and it shows Trump called him late Friday night, and they talked for 16 minutes. Why would Newsom lie and claim Trump never called him? Why would he do that?
You notice on the phone there that it actually says outgoing call on Newsom's phone? That'd be Newsom calling Trump, not the reverse. Whoopsie poop. Well, that's what gets us to our breaking story, because Gavin Newsom just pulled his own Donald Trump right back at Donald Trump in Fox News. Check out this breaking story.
Gavin Newsom sues Fox News for $787 million in defamation case over Trump call. The amount is nearly identical to Dominion Voting's 2023 defamation settlement with Fox News. Gavin Newsom is taking a page right out of Donald Trump's media playbook. The California governor accused Fox News of defamation in a lawsuit Friday morning, alleging the network should fork over $787 million after host Jesse Waters claimed Newsom lied about his phone calls with Trump, who ordered National Guard troops to Los Angeles this month. Newsom's lawyers argue Waters' program misleadingly edited a video of Trump to support the claim. If Fox News wants to lie to the American people on Donald Trump's behalf, it should face consequences, just like it did in the Dominion case, Newsom told Politico in a statement. Until Fox is willing to be truthful, I will keep fighting against their propaganda machine. Public officials must clear an extremely high legal standard to prevail in defamation cases, as the U.S. Supreme Court established 6 decades ago in New York Times versus Sullivan. But the lawsuit's filing marks a pointed escalation in Newsom's feud with the Republican president and his allies in media. Newsom is suing in his personal capacity and has agreed to pay any possible fines or penalties from his campaign account, aides said. Any proceeds from the case to Newsom would be disseminated to anti-Trump causes. Newsom's suit echoes Trump's own lawsuits against major news networks like ABC, which agreed in December to pay Trump $15 million to settle a defamation case over George Stephanopoulos' inaccurate claim that Trump was found civilly liable for rape. Trump was actually found civilly liable for sexual abuse, though the judge in the case later ruled that it was accurate in common modern parlance to say Trump had been found liable for rape. Newsom's lawyers said he is prepared to drop the lawsuit if Fox retracts its claims and Waters apologizes to him on air. A copy of Newsom's complaint filed in the Delaware Superior Court, in the same state where Fox News is incorporated, claims he last spoke with Trump for approximately 16 minutes by phone on June 7th. one day before the president deployed 2,000 California National Guard troops over Newsom's objections to quell protests in Los Angeles. Trump, however, told reporters on June 10th he had spoken with Newsom a day ago, implying a conversation took place the same day 700 U.S. Marines were deployed to Los Angeles. Newsom refuted Trump's claim in a post on X minutes later. That evening, Waters played an edited clip of Trump's remarks on air before asking, why would Newsom lie and claim Trump never called him? He simultaneously showed a screenshot of the president's call history, obtained by Fox host John Roberts, showing Trump's last call with Newsom was on June 7th, as the governor had claimed. Newsom's lawyers argue the incident meets the legal standard for defamation and potentially harmed the governor's standing with voters in future elections. Additionally, they claimed it violated California's unfair competition law, which outlaws deceptive and unfair business practices. Mark Bankson and another private lawyer representing Newsom, Michael Teeter, summarized their case in a 5-page letter to Fox on Friday, littered with biting insults of the network's credibility and sarcastic jabs at Trump's mental acuity. It is perhaps unsurprising that a near octogenarian with a history of delusionary public statements and unhinged late-night social media screeds might confuse the dates, the lawyers wrote. But Fox's decision to cover up for President Trump's error cannot be so easily dismissed. Newsom's tense face-off with Trump put him squarely in conservative media's bullseye. Just last week, the Rupert Murdoch-owned New York Post mocked Newsom on its front page with a photo of him sipping wine in Napa on the same weekend Trump called in Guard troops. Newsom's press office has since said he was at a cancer fundraiser honoring his late mother, who died of breast cancer. The governor's legal team is no stranger to high-profile defamation cases. Bankson represented the parents of an elementary school student killed in the 2012 Sandy Hook massacre in a defamation suit against conspiracy theorist Alex Jones. Bankson's team secured a verdict in 2022 ordering Jones to pay $49.3 million in total damages.
And you got to note 3 things about that. Very important. Number 1, Gavin Newsom is doing this on his personal basis. He's not using state funds, of course. Number 2, he said any proceeds that come from it, he's going to happily give to anti-Trump causes. And number 3, and more importantly, doesn't even want money, doesn't even want it to go through, just willingly said, hey, just come on air and apologize for lying. Simple stuff.